AITA for taking back the Christmas gift after the kid complained it wasn't as good as the others. My brother married a wonderful woman a few years ago who already had kids from her previous relationship. I only bring this up because it's relevant to what happened recently, and I need to make it clear from the start that this isn't about their blended family or anything like that. We've always treated her kids like family, and until this recent incident, I thought things were going well between all of us. However, this situation has caused a major fallout, and I need to get it off my chest. My siblings and I are pretty close, and growing up, we always had this family tradition: when any of us turned 16, we would get a car. It wasn't always something fancy, but our parents believed that turning 16 was a milestone that deserved to be celebrated in a big way. Over time, this tradition extended to our kids as well. Whenever one of our nieces or nephews hit 16, they would get a car, usually a brand new one, because most of us are doing well financially and can afford to splurge a bit. Now, my brother and his wife are not as well off as the rest of us. That's just the reality of their situation, and no one holds it against them. We've all been supportive and tried to help whenever we can. Their oldest, who is turning 16 soon, is a great kid for the most part. When the rest of us realized they wouldn't be able to afford a car for her birthday, we decided to step in and help out. It wasn't just about maintaining the family tradition, it was about showing her that she's as much a part of this family as any of the blood cousins. All the siblings agreed to pitch in, and they entrusted me with the responsibility of finding the car. After some discussion, we decided it would make more sense to buy a good used car rather than a brand new one. This way, we could also include enough money to cover her insurance for the first 2 years. It felt like a fair and generous plan, given that a new car wasn't financially feasible for everyone to contribute to. I found an amazing deal on a 3-year-old car that was in great condition with low mileage. It wasn't flashy, but it was reliable and perfect for a first car. I was excited to surprise her with it and genuinely thought she'd be thrilled. Fast forward to Christmas, which is when we decided to present the car as a combined Christmas and birthday gift. What should have been a heartwarming moment turned into an absolute disaster. The kid's reaction was shocking, to say the least. Instead of being excited or grateful, she threw a full-blown tantrum because the car was used and not brand new like the ones her cousins had received when they turned 16. She didn't just express disappointment, she was outright rude, saying things like, "Why do I get treated differently? This isn't fair." Her mother, my brother's wife, not only didn't shut it down but actually joined in, accusing us of being unfair and treating her daughter differently because she isn't biologically related to us. I was floored. My brother, to his credit, looked completely mortified. He kept apologizing and telling his wife and stepdaughter to stop, but they wouldn't let it go. It didn't seem to matter that we had also included cash for 2 years of insurance, which is a big deal. They were fixated on the fact that the car wasn't brand new. What started as an uncomfortable situation quickly spiraled into a full-on family argument. Some of the other siblings tried to explain that this was never about favoritism. It was a compromise we all agreed on because we were collectively footing the bill, unlike in the other situations where individual parents had bought the cars themselves. But the mother-daughter duo wasn't having it. They kept insisting that it was unfair, and the wife even accused me specifically of being cheap and biased because I'm the one who picked out the car. I tried to stay calm, but I could feel my patience wearing thin. Eventually, I snapped. I told them, in no uncertain terms, that if they were going to be so ungrateful and entitled, then the kid wouldn't get anything at all. I announced, right there in front of everyone, that I was going to sell the car and give all the siblings their money back. Admittedly, I said it in anger and didn't consult anyone beforehand, but I couldn't stand the disrespect any longer. To my surprise, all of my siblings backed me up. They agreed that this level of entitlement didn't deserve a reward. That didn't stop the situation from escalating, though. My brother's wife went ballistic, accusing me of humiliating her family and treating her daughter differently because she isn't blood. She's since taken to social media, where she's been posting about how her stepdaughter was publicly humiliated by her evil in-laws and how we're all treating them like second-class family members. Meanwhile, my brother, who is one of the most humble and kind people I know, has been caught in the middle, trying to keep the peace but clearly torn. Our parents, who are the peacemakers in the family, are now involved. They're embarrassed by how things played out and are trying to smooth things over. Their solution? They want me to sell the used car, chip in some of their own money, and buy a brand new car to match what the other cousins received. I refused. I told them I wasn't going to reward that kind of behavior, and I certainly wasn't going to spend another dime on a child who couldn't even muster a simple, "thank you," for a generous gift. Now, there's a huge rift in the family. My parents are upset with me, my brother's wife is still fuming, and the siblings are divided between wanting to move on and standing firm in our decision. Personally, I feel like I did the right thing, even if I acted out of anger in the moment. I don't think gratitude should be optional, especially when people are going out of their way to be generous. But maybe I'm too stubborn or vindictive for my own good. I can't help but wonder if I should have handled things differently, or if I'm justified in sticking to my guns. Update 1. My brother called me yesterday, and from the moment I heard his voice, I could tell he was stressed. You know that strained, cautious tone people use when they're bracing for impact? That was him. I wasn't exactly thrilled to hear from him, especially after everything that went down over Christmas, but I decided to give him the benefit of the doubt. Maybe he was calling to smooth things over or just check in. Instead, he dropped a bombshell that left me absolutely floored. His wife has now decided she will not attend any future family gatherings unless we all apologize publicly for what happened at Christmas and agree to buy her daughter a brand new car to make things right. I was stunned. I mean, after all the drama and fallout from the original situation, you'd think they'd want to de-escalate, not double down. But here we are. I told my brother flat out that there's no way I'm apologizing for what I did. Her behavior, and her daughter's behavior, was entitled and ungrateful, and I wasn't about to reward that. Not now, not ever. He tried to play the role of peacemaker, as he always does, and I could tell he was trying to find some middle ground, but I wasn't budging. I felt bad for him, honestly. He's clearly caught between his wife, who's on the warpath, and the rest of us, who have had it with her antics. But that doesn't mean I'm going to cave just to make his life easier. Here's where things take an even messier turn. Apparently, his wife has been telling her extended family about the situation, but of course, she's spinning it to make herself and her daughter look like the victims. From what I've gathered, she's left out some pretty important details, like the part where we all chipped in for a car they couldn't afford, or the fact that her daughter threw a tantrum instead of saying thank you. Instead, she's painting this picture of a cruel, snobby family who looked down on her and her daughter and deliberately treated them unfairly. Now, her relatives are getting involved. Some of them have been reaching out to us directly, sending messages about how family is supposed to support each other, and accusing us of being elitist. Others have taken the passive-aggressive route, posting vague comments on social media about how some families only care about money and appearances, or how wealth doesn't make you a good person. It's infuriating because they're only hearing her side of the story, and from the way they're talking, you'd think we handed the kid a lump of coal instead of a perfectly good car and money for insurance. The worst part is that my brother is so desperate to keep the peace that he's basically asking me to roll over and give his wife what she wants. He actually begged me to just let it go, buy the new car, and move on to avoid further drama. I couldn't believe it. I love my brother, but at that moment, I was angry at him too. Why should I be the one to fix this mess? Why should any of us have to bend over backward to appease someone who clearly doesn't appreciate what we've already done? I told him, as calmly as I could, that I wasn't going to budge. If his wife wants to skip family gatherings, that's her choice. If her extended family wants to think the worst of us, that's on them. But I wasn't going to reward entitled behavior, and I wasn't going to apologize for holding my ground. Of course, this conversation only added fuel to the fire. My parents, who are already upset about the fallout, are now more insistent than ever that we need to smooth things over. They hate the tension and the drama, and I understand that. They're good people who just want everyone to get along. But their solution? They want to pay the difference for a new car themselves. They've told me they'd cover the cost if it means restoring harmony in the family. And while I understand their perspective, I told them flat out that they can do what they want with their money, but I won't be part of it. I won't be involved in enabling this kind of behavior, and I certainly won't let them guilt me into going along with a decision I fundamentally disagree with. Now, my parents are frustrated with me too. They think I'm being stubborn and making things worse by refusing to compromise. My siblings, on the other hand, are still on my side, for now. But even they're starting to get tired of the ongoing drama. One of my sisters told me she's tempted to just let our parents handle it and be done with it, even though she doesn't agree with buying a new car either. I can't blame her, this whole situation has been exhausting for everyone involved. And the used car? It's still sitting in my driveway, I haven't had time to sell it yet. Update 2. So, things just got a lot more complicated. I was having a conversation with one of my siblings, let's call her Linda, who casually dropped a piece of information that completely changed everything I thought I knew about this situation. Up until now, I was under the impression that my brother's wife and her daughter's outburst was about them feeling slighted by the used car. As frustrating as their reaction was, I chalked it up to entitlement and perhaps some insecurity about not being able to afford the same things as the rest of us. But what Linda told me left me absolutely speechless. Apparently, before Christmas, Linda had a casual conversation with my brother's wife. During that chat, she mentioned, offhandedly, that the car we were buying for her daughter would be used but in excellent condition. Linda said my brother's wife didn't seem bothered by it at all. In fact, she even said something along the lines of, "Oh, that's so generous of you all," and gave no indication that it would be a problem. This was weeks before Christmas, so if she had any issues with the plan, she had plenty of time to speak up. But she didn't. Instead, she let us all go through with buying the car, only to throw a tantrum when it was finally gifted. At first, I couldn't wrap my head around why she would do this. Why pretend to be fine with the idea of a used car only to flip the script so dramatically later? That's when Linda told me she'd done some digging, and what she found out blew my mind. Apparently, my brother's wife had been talking to her ex, her daughter's biological father, before Christmas. He had promised their daughter that if she didn't like the car we got her, he would buy her a brand new one instead. Yes, you read that right. He didn't even bother to wait and see what we were giving her before making that promise, it was as if he assumed we'd fail to meet her expectations. And here's the kicker, he didn't follow through. When the daughter threw her tantrum over the used car and turned to him, expecting him to make good on his promise, he bailed. Whether it was because he couldn't afford it or just didn't want to, I don't know. But instead of being angry at him for not keeping his word, my brother's wife redirected all of that anger and frustration toward us. Suddenly, the used car wasn't just a used car, it was a symbol of how we, her in-laws, had somehow failed her and her daughter, while her ex got off scot-free. This revelation hit me like a ton of bricks. All of the drama, the accusations, the social media posts, the demands for a public apology and a brand new car, it wasn't about the car at all. It was about her trying to one-up her ex and save face when he let her down. And instead of addressing the real issue, she decided to make us the scapegoats. I couldn't keep this to myself. I called my brother and confronted him with what Linda had told me. At first, he was quiet, and I could tell he was debating whether to deny it or come clean. Eventually, he admitted that he had suspected as much but didn't want to bring it up because he thought it would only make things worse. He apologized again, this time more sincerely than before, but I could tell he's completely drained. He's caught in the middle of this mess, trying to keep his wife happy while also dealing with the fallout within the family. I feel for him, I really do, but at the same time, I'm furious that he didn't come clean about this sooner. If he had told us what was really going on, maybe we could have handled things differently. I shared this new information with my other siblings, and they were just as angry as I was. If anything, this revelation solidified their stance, we should sell the car and cut ties with my brother's wife until she apologizes. They're furious that we've all been dragged into this unnecessary drama because of her issues with her ex. One of my siblings even suggested that we stop inviting her to family gatherings altogether until she makes amends, though I'm not sure how realistic that is given how much my brother is trying to keep the peace. As for my parents, I haven't told them yet. I know I probably should, but I also know how much this will hurt them. They've been trying so hard to play mediator and bring everyone back together, and finding out that my brother's wife manipulated this entire situation will devastate them. My parents are the type of people who always try to see the best in others, and I think they've been holding on to the hope that this is just a misunderstanding that can be resolved with time. I'm not sure how they'll handle the truth, but I feel like they need to know. Meanwhile, the car is still sitting in my driveway, and every time I see it, I get more frustrated. It's a great car, a car that any 16-year-old should be thrilled to have, and yet it's become this symbol of entitlement, manipulation, and family drama. I haven't had the time or the energy to put it up for sale yet, but I know I need to soon. At this point, I just want it gone. I want to give everyone their money back and wash my hands of the whole situation. But even if I sell the car, the underlying issues remain. My brother's wife has shown that she's willing to manipulate the truth and drag the entire family into her personal vendettas. My brother, despite his good intentions, is enabling her behavior by not standing up to her. And now, thanks to her social media posts and her extended family's involvement, this drama has expanded far beyond our immediate family. I don't know how we come back from this. For now, I'm trying to take things one step at a time. Sell the car. Talk to my parents. Update 3. I sold the car. After all the drama, it felt like the only way to put an end to this seemingly never-ending fiasco. It wasn't an easy decision. I felt like selling it was admitting defeat in some way, like letting the entitled behavior win, but I also couldn't stand the sight of it sitting in my driveway, a constant reminder of the chaos it had caused. Once it was gone, I distributed the money back to my siblings who had pitched in, and for a brief moment, I felt a sense of relief. I thought, finally, this is over. But it wasn't. Not even close. Yesterday, I got something completely unexpected, an anonymous letter in the mail. It was a simple, folded piece of paper, with no return address, no clues as to who sent it, just my name on the front in familiar handwriting. I opened it, expecting it to be another passive-aggressive note from my brother's wife or someone from her extended family still trying to stir the pot. Instead, what I found left me speechless. The note read, "Thank you for trying to help. I'm sorry for everything." There was no signature, but the handwriting looked suspiciously like my niece's. I sat there for a moment, staring at the words, trying to process what this could mean. Was it really from her? If so, why? And why anonymously? My emotions were all over the place, relief, confusion, anger, and even a hint of sadness. I immediately texted my brother to ask if he knew anything about it. At first, he seemed hesitant to respond. He left me on read for a while, which isn't like him, and when he finally did reply, it was with a vague, "Can I call you later?" That only made me more curious, so I pushed him a bit, telling him I just wanted to know if the letter was from his daughter. Eventually, he caved and admitted that, yes, it was her. What he told me next completely changed how I viewed this entire situation. Apparently, my niece had been feeling absolutely terrible about how everything went down at Christmas. She had been pressured by her mom to react the way she did, to throw a fit about the car being used, to make a scene, and to demand something better. According to my brother, his wife was trying to use the situation as leverage against her ex, hoping to force him to step up and buy their daughter a brand new car. My niece, being a teenager caught in the middle of her parents' ongoing feud, went along with it, even though she wasn't comfortable with it. Now that some time has passed and the dust has settled, she's incredibly embarrassed by how she acted. She's also angry at her mom for putting her in that position. My brother told me she's been apologizing to him non-stop, saying she feels like she ruined Christmas for everyone and tarnished her relationships with the rest of the family. She even told him that she regrets the tantrum and wishes she could take it all back. Here's where it gets even more surprising. She's been secretly working a part-time job after school, saving up money to buy a car on her own. My brother found out when he noticed her coming home late a few nights a week and asked her about it. She admitted that she doesn't want to rely on anyone else anymore and that she's determined to prove she's not as entitled or ungrateful as her behavior made her seem. My brother, who's been stuck in the middle of all this chaos, was incredibly proud of her but also heartbroken that she felt the need to go to such lengths to make up for what happened. When he offered to help her with the car, she refused. She told him she wants to do it herself, that it's important to her to take responsibility and show the family that she's better than the way she acted. Hearing this left me with such a mix of emotions. On one hand, I was incredibly proud of her for recognizing her mistake and trying to make things right. On the other hand, I was furious that her mom had put her in this position in the first place. None of this had to happen if her mom hadn't tried to manipulate the situation for her own gain. I told my brother that I was proud of his daughter for taking this step and that I'd be happy to help her find a car when she's ready. Whether it's helping her research options or negotiating a good deal, I want to support her in this journey. My brother seemed relieved, like a weight had been lifted off his shoulders. But he also admitted that things at home are still incredibly tense. His wife is doubling down on her narrative that the family wronged them and refuses to let this go, even though her own daughter is trying to move past it. She's still complaining to her extended family, still posting passive-aggressive comments on social media, and still refusing to attend family gatherings until we apologize. It's exhausting just hearing about it, so I can only imagine how draining it must be for my brother. At this point, I'm cautiously optimistic about my relationship with my niece. I think there's a real chance to rebuild that connection and move forward in a positive way. But when it comes to her mom, I have no idea what the future holds. She's made it clear that she's not interested in resolving this situation amicably, and I honestly don't know if I can ever forgive her for how she's handled this whole ordeal. She dragged us through unnecessary drama, manipulated her daughter, and turned what should have been a joyful family tradition into an ugly, divisive mess.